In our registration centers here would then be rejected as fraudulent data that is coming from elsewhere. Now that too, you say no way, we won't allow you to take the serial numbers and track the equipment that is being used in this country. What is the reason? As I have said earlier, among other things, the essence of recording the serial numbers of the BVR kits will help us trace, identify, and match every registration data emanating from a specific district or electoral area. The serial numbers will also help us track all unauthorized personnel who operate the BVR kits in an electoral area. This will forestall any clandestine registration aimed at contaminating the voters' register. We are determined to ring-fence the threat and risks for the 2024 elections.
The NDC Women's Wing orientation and inauguration of the Working Committee of the Trobo constituency was held on Saturday, 5th May 2024 in Accra on the theme, Mobilizing the Women in Building the Ghana We Want Together. In an interaction with the press, the National Women's Organizer of the party, Honorable Hannah Louise Abisiu, urged all and sundry to vote for the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, since his 24-hour economy initiative will help boost businesses and create jobs for the unemployed.
What the Women Development Bank is about, what the banner, the work and bank store in the say, let me go home what you say. Yaya, you took me about maybe we are needing to make copy. Wow, we can't have to make copy. Wow, we cake, we juice, what on Yama, wow, we in them at home, wow, what on them I have to give me there. Jump by them. So Mahama, 24-hour economy, where Jam was signed the bank came back, but we are trying to participating active. So one country will be one country will be said. 24-hour economy, as it's raining and they said, the Bayer Juma 3 shifts, a Bemen Juma, or better we could two as for just a security service in your Macron Spain Juma. Said you open back what a human and your home was sick at 2 night and you're back to the national. Or then you have 24-hour economy. Or the back up from Prague, and then can you never listen and better swap?
Meanwhile, a leading member of the women's wing of the party, Ethel Jifa Simmons, says the time has come for women to feel belong since the party chose a woman as its running mate.
Of our program today, or the aim of the Women's Working Committee, is just to It's just to create the awareness for ladies. It's just to make our women feel involved in whatever we are doing. To create a space for them to be able to also work in the party, not just leaving everything to the men. As we all know, we have a woman as our running mate, so we are making our women feel belonged and not being left out. That is the main aim of the Women's Working Committee.
The event was graced by high-profile dignitaries, including parliamentary candidate for Trobo constituency, Dr. John Ham, the national women's organizer of the NDC, Honorable Hannah Louisa Bisiu, leading member of the women's wing of the NDC in the Trobo constituency, Jemima Luguzuri, amongst others. For Pan-African Television, Daniel Kwabna Asari's report.
Effect under our current dispensation is that the National Communications Authority, who by law or by statute is mandated to be a regulator of spectrum, does not have the responsibility by law to be the regulator of contents. Okay. The National Media Commission, under the 1992 Constitution, has been mandated to be the regulator of contents. And this is the scenario. Meaning if you are showing a content and the NMC, the NCA, that gave you the power, the spectrum to operate and can take the spectrum, is not allowed to regulate contents. They will look at spectrum infringements. But the National Media Commission, that is regulating content, is not the one that gave you the spectrum and cannot necessarily so move to withdraw it. Okay. So it creates a vacuum when those two institutions are not working together. What the bill is seeking to do is to fix that vacuum or close it so that their mandates where we don't have to duplicate but have some amendments in the statutes permitting NCA to work, or where we can create an additional mandate under the broadcasting bill so that they can work together to sanitize the media space. They will do that. The bill is also heavy on the protection of children and minors, okay, and the kind of contents that are shown and when they are shown, and also on new media. We know in Ghana today all the statistics that I've given are related to traditional media, but the proliferation we have in the space, everybody can just take up a phone, create a YouTube channel, create a Facebook or TikTok channel and say, I'm broadcasting. And we don't even know whether bloggers are journalists or not. But maybe because of the systems we operate, we may not hold them to a similar standard. And then we don't have a legal dispensation that is also giving guidelines or just codifying something to take care of infringements in that space, apart from provisions in the Cyber Security Act and also Data Protection Act. Mm-hmm. So these are some of the issues that the broadcasting bill will be addressed. Okay. And I'm happy to announce that the final draft is ready. We did stakeholder engagements. We've done review of it somewhere last year. Several engagements. We've taken inputs. The consultants have looked at it again. We've sent it to the Attorney General's office for advice. They have replied, and we are ready to lay. But of course, it's important to call the stakeholders back to make sure all the recommendations and the proposals that they brought were taken into consideration. Then we can approach the Communications Committee in Parliament that also has oversight responsibility over our ministry to look at the draft bill and then give us the blessing to initiate the necessary processes to lay it.
Right, okay. Minister, we are very grateful to you this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me. Great.
Thank you.
As you are aware, before the year 2022, the methodology that was used was different. They basically used to measure government's interaction with media practitioners and journalists and the conducive environment created by governments for the media practitioners to operate.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
And thank you very much for choosing Pan-African Television and of course Radio Gold 90.5 FM. We're bringing you live the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live from the studios, the Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios of Pan-African Television. Today is a Saturday morning and we are happy to be in your homes, in your cars, or however you are listening to us. I am Sena Numbo, and of course today we're discussing three issues as always. First one, President Akufo-Addo says he wants his legacy to be protected. And the best person to protect his legacy is someone he's worked with for so long. And he's sure that person will protect his legacy. That's Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. As for John Mahama, ever since he entered into office, anything he has done, John Mahama has criticized. So he's sure that John Mahama will not protect his legacy. So Ghanaians should not vote for him. The best question I've heard all week is a question from Comrade Kwesi Prajina. Which legacy? That's the discussion we'll be having. The legacy of President Akufo-Addo that he wants protected. Of course, former President Mahama gave him a response when he said that. On his Facebook page, he posted, "Of course, I will not protect your legacy of corruption, misgovernance, arrogance, ineptitude, bankrupt economy, increased unemployment, and pushing more of our people into poverty brackets." That is his response to him. We'll be discussing that in our very first issue, and then we'll move on to the limited voter registration exercise. So far, not the best of exercises. Hasn't started so well. Not being smooth. In fact, day one was very bad. Day two, it was hoped would be better. Also, has serious challenges. There's been power outages, issues with connectivity to the internet. It's gone into day three, and today is day four. Would it be better? And then the National Democratic Congress also held a press conference to make one simple demand. Give us the serial numbers to your BVRs. The EC says no. We are protecting the machines we have. In the interest of the security of those machines and the security of our elections, we cannot give you the serial numbers. We'll conclude with a cocaine bust in Belgium. A woman carried 8 kilograms of cocaine through our airport and was arrested in Belgium. The Belgian authorities were shocked, so they called our authorities and asked them, what happened? How did this happen? So far, some people have been interdicted, some workers at the airports. It is alleged that even the woman who was manning the scanner left the scanner just at the time when the lady who took the cocaine was about to go through the scanner. So there are many issues, including one being raised by Honorable Samuel Kujato Ablakwa, who's actually put out the letter of interdiction written to those workers who are currently under investigation. The letter gives them 2 thirds of their salary. So whilst they are home, they'll be paid 2 thirds of their salary over the period of their interdiction. He thinks it's not serious enough. 2 investigations being carried out, one by NACOC, we know, and then the other one being done by the Ghana Airports Authority. There are suggestions that the Ghana Airport Authority cannot investigate itself. So that will be our last issue for discussion this morning. Those are the issues we are discussing this morning. And join us in the studio to discuss those issues. Comrade Kwesi Prajina is General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. And sitting right by him is a Deputy Women Organizer, National Women Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, Jifa Tega. Wonderful to see you this morning. Yes, representing Afro-Franto. And then getting closer to me, lawyer Andrew Apia Dankwa is a member of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Yes, it's wonderful to have you. Yes, yes. As always, in his Liverpool jersey. And then sitting right to my right is Professor. Wow. Kwesa White. From Mende, it escaped me. Professor Kwesa White. Professor Kwesa White is an academic and also a politician. He, at one time, actually headed the National Service Secretariat. Prof, good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Well, so that's my panel for today. And of course, you're a big part of this show. We would like you to send in your comments, your contributions to the show via WhatsApp. You can do it via Facebook. You can do it via text message. Let us hear from you. What do you think about the issues we'll be discussing this morning? Well, let's start off with a discussion on President Akufo-Addo's legacy that he wants to protect so much that he has to decide who takes over from him. And I usually don't do baptism of fire, but I'll start from Prof on this one. Prof, good morning.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners on Radio Gold. And of course, good morning to my panelists, colleague panelists as well. I was surprised when I heard President Akufo-Addo made the statement that President Mahama would destroy his legacy. And I think, just as you indicated, the first question that popped up in my mind was, what legacy are we talking about? Because it's been almost 8 years. One can easily recall, when we talk of legacy, we can recall what, for instance, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did for this country. You don't need to search far. It's all moved all over the place. And the various attempts that have been made to destroy it, but has been unsuccessful. We can also recall the legacy of President Rawlings. We can recall the legacy of President Mahama as well. But it's not obvious to me what exactly President Akufo-Addo's legacy is. But even beyond that, no leader who believes he or she has done so well worries about whether what they have done will be destroyed or not. Because if those things are actually good and they are life-transforming and they are in the service of the larger majority of the population, then they are steeped in time in a manner in which nobody can destroy. And this idea that President Mahama has been criticizing him ever since he took office, I'm surprised. I think that, and I think it's obvious to everybody now, that if for nothing at all, President Mahama has been the one who has been unfairly treated within the larger scope of our democracy in terms of the kinds of things that were said about him, most of which, in fact, perhaps all of which were manufactured, thrown at him in the spirit of propaganda, repeated several times to the extent that they virtually get the public believing them. And then, of course, the decision of the public eventually was to give Akufo-Addo and his team the opportunity. Now, with hindsight, across the country, it doesn't matter where, across the regions, people are asking what exactly went wrong. And the reason they're asking that is because in the last 7 to 8 years, this country has been subjected to the most cruelest of system of governance that we have seen, from the point of view of the economy, from the point of view of governance, and so on and so forth. So what legacy are we talking about? Is it a CD moving from 3-point-something to now I'm hearing 15 that we are talking about? That needs to be protected. Is it a mass unemployment that is confronting our young people in the country that needs to be protected? Is it the uncompleted, SHS buildings that are scattered across the country that needs to be protected? Or it is the various scandals ranging from PDS to, SML and so on and so forth that needs to be protected. So one gets a sense that it is rather the fear of the possibility of President Mahama activating the rule, not the rules, but activating or initiating actions to ensure that what went wrong is righted. That is making President Akufo-Addo make the kind of comments he's making. And I am worried, especially not only in the context of this particular comment, But his more recent comments suggesting that he will not hand over power to anybody except the person that he feels comfortable with. This is something that is relatively recent in our democratic dispensation. I mean, people run for office, they serve their term, they leave, the citizens choose who they want again. And then if you have any legacy, like I said, if it is in the interest of the people, it gets to remain. If it is not worth protecting, it fizzles out. Look at all the things that have been done to Kwame Nkrumah, from the pulling down of his statues, burning his books, and destruction of anything that is possibly in Nkrumah. Yet today, across the political divide, even when they are pretending, everybody gravitate back to say he was the best, he left the best legacy for us. So I will advise President Akufo-Addo, that is, if I qualify to advise him, that he should focus on making the transition from a president in his dying years of being in office to a former president. And that would mean that he should be making the transition to a statesman whose language, posture, and appeal should cut across all the political divide, rather than, taking this rigid partisan stand or position that suggests that I'm going to hand over to my own party no matter what the case may be. He doesn't have to decide that. It is the Ghanaian people who will decide that. And my wish and prayer is that he will do nothing untoward to interfere in that particular process, because we all have a responsibility to protect the peace, safeguard our country, and protect the democracy that we have.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Well, that's Professor Michael Kwesawai starting off the discussion for us. I will jump right to lawyer. Lawyer.
Senator, congratulations. Last week was the beginning of the new center. Your life will never be the same. So welcome to the club, and hopefully it will be the beginning of many years of happy life together with your wife. Let me wish Prof a good morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be in your company. Thank you. I can see my sister wants to make an announcement. So probably after you can call a press conference for you. But you'll be glad you are coming into our family. So we see proper change in this country. Good morning, and good morning to Mr. Pratt. Always a pleasure to be in his presence. Senator, since you give me the enviable privilege, as in this platform, Pan Africa, give me the enviable privilege of appearing on this, in my view, the best political show in this country. No topic. No topic has vexed me like this topic. In fact, it's vexed me to the extent that I haven't slept, and I'm not lying. So beyond the doom, so the fact that as in there was no light, the thought of thinking about Nana Addo's legacy really has vexed my soul. And I haven't slept, and I hope I can put into words what I'm really feeling inside, because it's been 7 years of unbelievable, terrible leadership. As in, there's no better way of putting it. As in, the presidency has been reduced and depraved, as in to such an extent that I don't know, as a very petty extent that I'm here, and when Alhaji speaks about his legacy, I'm confused. Is it the legacy that let's say Prof attempted to talk about or spoke about, or is it the legacy that has been beautifully put in the Jeopardy book? I don't know which is which. Because personally, he could have his own legacy, as in, because he could have his own purpose for which he became president, and he haven't pursued that agenda. Probably when he was talking about Mahama coming to destroy his legacy, and mind you, it's only Mahama that he should be concerned about. I can bet you that should Alan Chamati become president, or anybody who loves this country for that matter, when that person becomes president, the person has no choice than to deliberately break down some of the devilish legacies Nana Addo has left us. You see, Paul beautifully mentioned Kwame Nkrumah. It's easy for us to mention Akosombo and this, but if there's one legacy Nkrumah left Ghana, is his ingenuity in bringing together the various countries, various tribes, various cultures with various values to create that one Ghana. Where unlike other African countries where, as in, he's a Houthi, because Nigeria and a lot of have been plagued by tribalism. But until recently, and at least I'm in my mid for F40s. Until recently, issues of tribalism, yes, they'll always be there, but it doesn't. I've never found myself in a Ghana where issues of tribalism, regionalism have come to the fore like now. Because Kwame Nkrumah created a Ghana where essentially we were Ghanaians. And to be able to do that within a generation where we had basically about 4 countries and numerous ethnic groups tells you about the mettle of the leadership of Osajifo. You understand? In the same way, I think it would be very easy and would do a good job if we reduce an assessment of Nana Addo's legacy to, he did, what's called, he introduced free SHS, or he attempted to introduce, what's it called, 1D, 1F, or, you see, when you take the discussion at that level, you'll be doing the whole discussion a massive disservice. Because Nana Addo's legacy, as in the depth of his legacy or non-legacy, I don't know which. Because so this one, I was asking my wife that when you say legacy, must it always be positive? As in when you talk about legacy, must it, because I understand legacy to be something that you've left or you've handed over. Must it always be positive? So I won't even attempt to go into that one, because even all those issues, when you scratch the surface, one thing that comes clear is a fundamental lack of commitment, or should I use the word fraud, or I don't know whether I should use the word a leader who clearly didn't have a vision, a plan, a purpose for which he wanted to be president of Ghana, but for whatever reason, for his own parochial interest, felt that he needed to be the president of Ghana to pursue a certain agenda which is adverse in all forms and shapes to the interests of this country, and so maneuvered and then became president, and then he's unleashing that agenda onto Ghanaians. But in his attempts to pursue the agenda at the blank side of Ghanaians, he needs to present or attempt or pretend he's pursuing certain programs which we would think is to the interest of Ghana. One, when Nana Addo wanted to be president, he anchored his campaign on transforming the economy of Ghana. We had a lot of discussions on nuisance taxes, and found that when we became the first budget, there was a number of abolishments. Well, then they've already themselves, they ran almost all the things abolished are back, and even more. So it's like if you read the Bible, you exorcise demons from somebody, and then 70 demons go, and then in next week about 200 enter the body. That's exactly what has happened. You talk about free SHS, you understand? You talk about the fight against Galamsey. Tristan Hiyang called his presidency on the fight against Galamsey. You talk about Tunso. And then you also analyze all the documents, so the economic, so like when you talk about the energy, for instance, the energy sector recovery program, beautiful document. You talk about the economy, the medium-term economy program, as in the Upper Tampa and creating jobs and prosperity. You talk about decentralization and another program held on decentralization, and yet none of all these beautiful things written, for which we spent Ghana's taxpayers' money to mobilize experts to put together those documents, not even one of them has been done. Because can you say that we have a decentralized system? We do not. Can you say that the economy is transformed? Because you take a fantastic policy like the 1D, 1F. Just by the amount of money government Nana Addo decided to put into that policy, it tells that he was not committed to the 1D, 1F. Because if you are really committed to 1D, 1F, how can you justify spending about 400 million Ghana cedis, no dollar, on 1D, 1F and about 1.5 billion on NAPCO? You understand? So clearly it tells me that this is a person or a man who really told us things to represent something. Yes, and really had no commitment whatsoever to bring about proper transformation. You get a picture. Then, you see, we pride ourselves as a very united country. And so what it means is that, and I think Prof said it perfectly, about once you become a president, you need to realize that you are not president over your political party. You are president over the entire country. And your duty, and I am using the word, your duty, your obligation, is not to your political party. Your obligation is to every single Ghanaian. And I'm using the word duty here deliberately. Because I was telling a friend that, you see, the reason why you take care of your children is not because you love them. The reason why you take care of your children is because you have a duty to take care of them. You have an obligation. Now, and see, and that duty, you must not only do that duty, but you must be seen and perceived to be doing that duty. So where you have a president, it's the president of the country, who does not have any qualms going around the country, telling in the midst of this shambolic leadership and lack of development in our country, has no qualms, indeed has the cockroach audacity to look into the eyes of people and tell them that, listen, I did not bring the development here because you did not vote for my MP. You understand? And he hasn't done it once. It's like he isn't learning. You do it at a confee. You go to Mepe when, as in your citizens, people, your compatriots, I haven't said your compatriots, you understand, are plagued by devastating floods. And you go, first of all, you go there late. There's no proper relief system for them. And you go and tell them that you were not even supposed to be there because they didn't vote for you. You go to Adreso. You tell Adreso people that, listen, in the upcoming election, if they don't vote for you, you are showing them that no MP who is not from a party can lobby you to bring development to Adreso. You did the same in Asen North. Then, Mr. President, are you not dividing us? Are you not dividing us as a people, as a country? You understand? You take Galamsey. You take the evil that has been done to our environment. He's talking about legacy. Yeah? So you just go to the gold areas, to Western region, Ashanti region, and the color of the water bodies. And the color of the water, that tells the little story. Because the major story is that people are drinking cyanide-infested waters, mercury-laden waters. People are going to die early because of the chemicals in their water bodies. Indeed, already we are seeing the impact on cocoa. Because if I talk about one of the price of this country, it's not just gold, but the fact that we've for a very long time been one of the leading producers of cocoa, and not just in cocoa, premium cocoa. And because of the president's lack of responsibility, sense of responsibility, you understand, and the extent to which he's failed to give leadership, honest leadership, in his handling of his duty as a trustee. Because you see, when the Constitution created in the president a trust, well, there are so many duties that the Constitution gave the president. But there's a reason why, when it came to the natural resources of this country and the environment of this country, the Constitution thought that it needed to create in the president a trust as the biggest kind of obligation or job duty that can be given you. And he flunked it. He deliberately flunked it. Show no commitment. When your minister of environment has done a report, you hide that report for close to a year. There's absolutely no commitment. And he's talking about legacy. He's talking about legacy here. Senna, that's why I'm asking the question. When Nanado was talking about the legacy, which legacy was he really speaking about? Which legacy was he really speaking about? Because the breakdown in law and order in this country, and it began from the very first day of his term. The very first day of his term, when people in his party felt that they had the power to go and haul an appointee of the president from office, indeed felt that they could haul a judge or prevent justice from being dispensed. Is that a legacy or a non-legacy? You see, for me, we have seen clearly a president who I'm convinced beyond all shade of doubt that his commitment, the purpose for which he wanted to become president and has become president, was not because he felt that he could add anything of value to the lives of the people of Ghana. Because you take the economy, you take the fact that because of his bad leadership, Ghana as a country has lost all credibility when it comes to our bonds. Because, and you see, and the backbone of every economy, Senna, is trust. The trust people have in you, the government. Because you see, all our lives, we've been led to believe that the most securest bonds you can ever have is government bonds. All our lives. So where under your watch you've watched, or your actions, your policies has ensured that government bonds has lost all credibility, then you practically tanked the Ghanaian economy. You've practically tanked the Ghanaian economy. He's talking about transforming the economy, and practically no credible support system to our small and medium scale enterprises. Now, all these things I'm speaking about are just a fraction of the non-legacy of Nana Akufo-Addo. I think the biggest evil he's meted out is the kind of political culture that his leadership has forged in this country. That's the biggest problem he's left us. That's the biggest problem he's left us. Because you see, you can't talk about Nana Akufo-Addo's legacy without also talking about his practical destruction of the New Patriotic Party as a political institution. Because you see, he's destroyed the character of the party, the idea of the idea for which reason the party was formed, the purpose for which the party was formed. So you see, you can just do, and this one, just take the MPP's constitution. Look at their aims and objectives. The aims and objectives of the New Patriotic Party. Because mind you, political parties, a very critical part of our political institutions, beyond they wanting to empower, have a role to play in creating the right political culture that will best safeguard all of our interests. So, where you have a president who destroys the institution in terms of its character, its ideals, its purpose, there is weakening one of the anchors of the constitutional democracy we took upon ourselves. Now, because of his disregard for principle, for ideas, because for him he sees a political party as just a vehicle to use to a certain end. That's why somebody who claims to be a believer in democracy, the tenets of democracy, has no qualms when he's become president of Ghana in appointing people from his political party into institutions that we demand neutrality from. And when you are president of Ghana, it is your duty to protect the integrity of those institutions. Because you are not only a leader of your party, you are the president, the leader of Ghana. So you have a president who's appointed, and who's appointed people who are known to be MPP members into the AC. The fact that the MPP party itself did not oppose those actions of the president, because there's this culture in Ghana which seems to dictate that where a leader or a president, it comes from a party that you sponsored, you must defend every single act that that person does. But you yourself as a political party, you have your objects. You understand? And very central to your objects as a political party is to see the overall growth of constitutional democracy in this Ghana. You go and check the MPP's constitution, and that object is there. But because the president, as leader of the party, first of all, weakened the party, party people did not see the sense in opposing the president when he took steps that essentially weakened what's it called, the democracy we have in this country. That legacy, and so all these devilish legacies of destroying the very character, ideal, political character, because he's the fifth president of Ghana. I can say in all sincerity, me myself, I didn't vote for J.J. Rawlings. I voted for, as I voted in 2000, I voted for President Kufuor. You understand? But J.J. Rawlings, we've had situations where people who are leaders have led this country. No leader is perfect. You understand? So we've had people who are genuine, who are leaders, who make genuine mistakes, who obviously it is partisan politics, so they will have their own issues. But our fifth president is somebody who is not a leader, who wanted to be president, but is not a leader. You understand? So he doesn't seem to understand the burden on him as the leader of Ghana. He still thinks like he is a mere partisan person. But you are the president of Ghana. You are the leader of Ghana. He sees leadership as positional. So he has no, as in law, there's something you say, you can't give what you do not have. So the problem we're having, and the reason why we have this devilish legacy, which at all costs must be destroyed. Because we must take responsibility as a people to attend this negative political culture he's created. See, when you have people like the road minister, also has the qualms to repeat what the president said, that no independent candidate, so essentially nobody who is not from a party can come and lobby me to fulfill my obligation to the citizens of Ghana. Because we just didn't give you power. There's a reason why we all give you power. We give you power to serve. Yeah, you understand? So, Senna, Nana Addo has led a very terrible legacy. But I think if I want to be positive, then the positive legacy he's left us is to show us clearly what can befall all of us when we vote for somebody who has no business being in leadership, who doesn't understand the fundamental tenets of leadership, who doesn't understand that to serve is to give of yourself and not to take. You understand? And he doesn't understand it because he's not a leader. You understand? In fact, there's a statement that those of you who watch Game of Thrones said, and I can't quote it, but that where a king goes around telling everybody that I am a king, then he's no king at all. So when you have a president who does not miss a chance to tell everybody who the president of Ghana is, because he's no leader. And that's why he does not understand that to lead is to serve. And that's why he can look into the eyes of our chiefs and insult our local authority institution like he's done. An institution that our constitution felt the need to even to guarantee it in a, and see a chief and tell him and point to him that who should get up between the two of us. But he's not a leader. But I'm saying that there's a positive. And the positive is that right now we have a clear evidence of what a non-leader can do to our country, to every aspect of our country, be it the environment, be it the economics, be it the culture in our country, be it law and order. There is a situation where people can kill, a military man can kill, people can kill a military man in the police, in front of the police station, and nothing, where right now there's an issue going between Iyoko, Office of the Special Prosecution and Police, in respect of a certain once he said a public cause. The president already prejudiced their investigation with that unnecessary letter he wrote. And so right now Iyoko, it's like clearly they are so confused as to how to hide or protect somebody who's clearly violated the laws of this land, who is also depraving public office. Because beyond everything, your duty is also to set a very high bar. You understand? So right now, Ghanaians, we know what can befall our country in all forms and shapes. In terms of the moral and the spirit of this country, where we vote for a non-leader, where we vote for somebody whose purpose for why he wanted the presidency was not to serve our country, but to advance a certain personal agenda, an agenda which clearly is in a certain book, Japadier, which strangely, almost everything in that book is being unraveled in front of us day in, day out. So I'm very convinced that the legacy Nana Addo is talking about is not the legacy we think we are all talking about, but it's the legacy in the Japadier book. The fact that he's managed to capture the party, MPP party right now, to use them for whatever he wishes, he and his successors. And an attempt to also capture the country. Already that's the legacy he's talking about. It is the duty of all Ghanaians. If we love our country, because for me, he's waging a war against Ghana. Because if anybody advances an agenda which is adverse to the agenda of this country, which is adverse to the interest, the collective interest of the people of Ghana, then really what he's doing is to wage a war against the country. And it is the duty of every Ghanaian, irrespective of your tribe, irrespective of your ethnic group, irrespective of your political party, to stand and defend the integrity of this country. And we will defend that integrity if we ensure that these very negative and adverse legacies of Nana Akufo-Addo are destroyed, and we create a system where there will be no chance, no opportunity for anybody at all to meet unto us what is done to us. Because trust me, it will take us a very long time to come out of the hole he's dug for us. He's created a big problem for whoever becomes the next president of this country. Already, where are you going to even get the money to advance your own programs? Two, he's created a system where the people of this country themselves have lost so much faith in leadership, in political leadership. And you understand? Now, for our democracy to work, you need the people to believe in the ability of this our constitutional democracy to deliver on its promises. And otherwise, he's destroyed the environment. Right now, but right now, people's lives are at risk. Because we have somebody whose interest, whose agenda, whose purpose was not really to advance a program that will protect all of our interests. You understand? So he thinks his problem is Mahama. His problem isn't Mahama. His problem is the common man on the streets of Jolu, the common man in Kejetia, the common man in Paga, the people across the length and breadth of this country. We are his problem. Because it is our duty, for me, it's our duty to ensure that this legacy does not stand. And it won't stand. Because nobody can think that he's more Ghanaian or he owns Ghana. And because of it, he used the power that we have given him to create some royal family. It is not going to happen. It ain't happening. So I'll call on Ghanaians that 2024 is not like any other election. What we are faced with and allow me to use that word, the enemy we are faced with. Because having done all this, he said that his next job, and he said this almost more than a year, sometime last year in August. He said it clearly that he can't solve our problems. So then why didn't he resign? Then he added that the job that he has left to do is to ensure that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia becomes the next president of Ghana. I'd have had no issues with it if Dr. Bawumia had some special leadership skill. I'd have had no issue with it if Dr. Bawumia has some fantastic credibility. But you are talking about somebody who I can only compare to what we call Abusam Samna. I don't know if you know Abusam Samna. What you call don't touch him. And you know clearly this man does not have what it takes to lead this country. I mean, you see, like some kid. You understand? This man who clearly, as in one of them said, what he ensured that the natural resources of Ghana are 100% owned by Ghana. Why do we not own 100% the mineral resources in this country? So clearly, when somebody is giving the presidency and that you make sure we own 100%, he doesn't even understand what he's talking about. He doesn't even understand the regime here. Somebody who clearly, in his own statement, said that he was tasked to transform the economy of this country. But, and what did he do? He even tanked the economy more. Somebody who said that you can do all the propaganda you want. If the exchange rate, right now the exchange rate is almost 15. What moral justification can you have to have somebody like him as president? But no, he's the only person he believes can protect and perpetuate this devilish agenda against our country. And it is our collective duty as Ghanaians to ensure that that legacy sees no light of day by ensuring that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia does not become the president of Ghana. And that instead, the person who has put forward a comprehensive program, a program that will ultimately, first of all, whose focus is to bring together all Ghanaians, insofar as your commitment is towards the interest of this country. It doesn't matter your tribe, it doesn't matter your political party. Once you have a commitment in seeing a better Ghana, then you have a room in his leadership. And beyond that, creating that unity and a nation of one people has also advanced a comprehensive program which will ultimately lead to the transformation of our economy. Transform agriculture, transform industry. You understand? That person is Honorable Alan Jongoju Chemantin. Let us draw support behind him, and I can show you that legacy will be destroyed. So it's not just John Mahama. It's not just John Mahama who is his problem. Alan is his problem. I am his problem. I'm sure Prof is your problem. I'm sure it's your problem. My sister very soon to become an Afrofanto. I'm sure you are a problem. Every single person who loves this country is a problem to Nana Addo because his legacy won't stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, lawyer and Rapia Dankwa. So we are discussing President Akufo-Addo's suggestion that if you vote for former President Mahama, he would destroy his legacy. The person he prefers is Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Question is, which legacy? Anyway, a few messages from me before I go to Jafar. Tafina Maria says, in fact, I will be most happy if I see President Mahama destroy President Akufo-Addo's legacy. Because if any leader allows Akufo-Addo's legacy to stay, then Ghana will go down the drain. Because his legacy will never move this country forward. His legacy is full of incompetence, corruption, nepotism, broad daylight, thievery by government officials, and showing arrogance of power. Nana does not have any good legacy, therefore he should just go before he destroys everything. And thank you very much. There's also this one says, Senna, I want to thank Alan for breaking away from the MPP to bring out the real men in his followers, like lawyer. There's also Vision from Tamale, who says, good morning to you and the panelists. The MPP have completely been defeated by anything they promise to Ghanaians. And so for them to think of legacies is an absolute frustration. This particular party called New Patriotic Party in actuality, New Problems Party in reality, because they never have a country at heart at all. What they think is how they can milk the state to enrich themselves. 2024 polls will determine the number of patriotic citizens we have in Ghana. Thank you very much for sending that message. Mystic from Gomoa West says, if we cannot still see that this country is in a terrible doom and we have no time to waste but to rescue her, then we are nothing but living dead. Vampires have engulfed this country, and the earlier we terminate the activities, the better it will be for us. Thank you, Mystic, for that message. There's Seidu John Paul, who says, Nana Addo must prepare, make ready his handing over notes, because he will soon be sent out with his Bawumia. They have long played with our destinies, left to no legacy but for him to sink millions of dollars into a hole in the name of building a cathedral for Jesus and sleeping in the public. I strongly believe that GM will lead Ghana again as president, for posterity has done the campaign for him, bringing him to a spotlight his good works for the many Ghanaians who thought he was a devil and misunderstood him. Hashtag Ghana deserves better. Hashtag Ghana must be saved. Thank you very much for that message. Some more. This one is from Salam Ben Nuhu, Combat, inside of Insu South, who says, what legacy is President Akufo-Addo talking about? The PDS scandal, a Japan scandal, Australia visa scandal. The economy has built within 18 months in office, or the rampant corruption relating to his family and friends. The well-orchestrated propaganda against GM worked in 2016 and 2020. The strategy had long expired and won't work today. The smear campaign and character assassination won't fly. This is 2024. Okay. Thank you very much for that message. This one is Senna. President Nana Addo has succeeded in turning the Jubilee House into a paramount chief's palace. So do you think JM will be prepared to preserve such a bad legacy when voted to power? Of course, no. Some more. This is also from Daniel Akpaliok from Sandema, who says, at a time when Ghanaians are faced with unprecedented economic crisis and excruciating suffering as a result of the recklessness, sheer incompetence, and unparalleled misgovernance of Akufo-Addo-led administration, the least Akufo-Addo can do is to show some level of remorsefulness and apologize to Ghanaians. It is insulting and irritating for anyone to hear Akufo-Addo talking about JDM destroying his legacy. As far as I'm concerned, Akufo-Addo's only legacy is a skyrocketing increase in fuel prices, free fall of the city, galloping inflation, haircuts, and abject failure in managing the economy. You're still watching the Mother of All talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji live on Pan-African Television. We're broadcasting live from the Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studio of Pan-African Television. We're also live on Radio Gold, many other affiliates across the country. A big thank you to our partners, our partner radio stations all across Ghana. Jifa.
Sana, good morning once again to my fellow panelists and to you, latest husband in town. So while you were reading the messages, I was chit-chatting with my Afafanto brother here. And I want him to know that I cannot join Afafanto, unfortunately, because I belong to a party that is overly competent and can take the mantle ahead. So I would rather advise him, since he really has Ghana at heart, to come and join hands with us so that we do what is necessary for Ghana. Because the idea is that both of us have the same goal, transforming Ghana into a better place. So come and join the many of us, rather than wasting your time as the few of you guys. I also share in my brother's sentiment when I say that I'm outraged. Sometimes you hear certain things and you can let go, and then there are things you hear and like, what food did he eat to make him talk like that? Or where did he sleep? In our local settings, you did not sleep on a pillow, because sometimes you say things that becomes a shocker for people to hear, that this man, despite everything that is going on in this country, will talk about legacy. However, you also have to understand that, well, there are negative and positive legacies. Somebody can be ruthless. There are certain countries that had ruthless dictators, and there was a certain legacy that they are still living. It's all about asking what exactly legacy means. So it's someone's impact, contribution towards a society that may have made an impact to a people or an individual, whether negative or positive. But I beg to differ, and I stand to be corrected by Akufo-Addo himself to tell me whether he didn't mean positive. I know that he didn't mean positive. I want to assume that he meant negative, but I think all of us on this panel, including you, will agree that he probably meant a positive legacy that he has left behind. You see, my pain is that there are a lot of things, there are some weak minds who still have a certain problem with my flag bearer and former President JM, that he is too blunt. He will say the truth as it is and really doesn't care to sugarcoat issues. And that is what he has been. I think that is a very clear example is how he has replied the current president now. Now you ask me that, what is the whole implication of this legacy issue? Is that I have done good, and somebody will come in and push it away. Now I have to tell you that when the issues of free SHS came up, there was a whole year that people were saying NDC will come to collapse free SHS when we come to power, because everybody knows that we are coming to power. JM came out, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama came out boldly and said that no, this is a baby of 2016-2015 that was spearheaded by the current running mate of the flag bearer, Professor Jena Opoku-Agyeman. It is something I have believed in. I said it was going to be progressive, looking at the state of the country, our resources, and who needs it as to who doesn't need it. It's going to be progressive. So this is a baby I believed in. I am not coming to destroy it. At the time, as blunt as he is, he told you that this is something I will protect and even improve upon when I come to power. So it is not news that he would decide that he's going to continue something. Look, when we took over, NDC took over from Kufuor, I can tell you how steadily we protected the free health insurance scheme. Because for goodness sakes, one thing that NDC believes in is in pushing our people forward, making sure that what is good for our people is what stands. You remember when in somewhere 2003, this major N1 road had freshly been constructed. It had started during Kufuor's time. And that day, historically, our president at the time, that was Professor John Ivan Satamels, called on John Adjei Kufuor to come so that they cut the sword, yes, they inaugurate the road or whatever it is called together, to commission the road together. It was historic because there are presidents who are so petty, they won't think of that. But he was like, no, let's do it together. Today we have several projects in Accra and Ghana, like the Kumasi airports, like the Terminal 3 airport, that, in fact, like the Legon Hospital, the UG Hospital, that were commissioned and, brought up by JM out of pettiness. They don't even want the public to hear that it's being operated. You remember during COVID, people were sneaking in to be treated. When Terminal 3 was opened, it had to be used, and they were like, no, we'll investigate because the money doesn't add up. Tomorrow, or should I say in June, I hear the Kumasi airport will be opened. Let's see what will happen. I'm telling all this because JM is a man that believes that, look, when you start it and it is good, I will continue. I will not destroy whatever legacy you are talking about, if it is good. Now you come back and then ask, what legacy is Akufo-Addo talking about? Because I'm talking about my flag bearer's response, that I will not protect these fraudulent deals that you have done, that I will not protect these criminal acts of your government, that I will not protect these insensitive ideas and plans that you have been putting in place since 2016 December till date. You ask yourself, which are the fraudulent ones? PDS scandal that we screamed about and said that this deal is wrong. This deal is wrong. They went ahead with it, and eventually they realized that no, we can't keep up with it with a straight face, and they had to pull it back. A fraudulent deal like the National Cathedral, any sensible human being who has the country at heart, and I am a Christian, a lot of people are Christians, whether I am a staunch Christian or not, if it is bad, it is bad. Whether it was a mosque or it was a church, whatever it is, breaking down government bungalows that millions have been spent on, millions of taxpayers' money, breaking down government bungalows to dig a hole and spend millions of dollars wasted on just a hole. These are the legacies that he's talking about. Our government, when we come to power, is not going to support this National Cathedral. And really, we do not care about anybody who thinks otherwise, because I believe that anybody who has the country at heart knows that churches are in abundance in Ghana. If not for anything at all, churches are even more than factories in Ghana here. And so the last thing that we may need right now is a cathedral. Because if we want to meet as a nation, we can really go and settle any of the Dag Heward Mills and Duncan Williams Cathedral, and they would willingly let us have it if we need to. These are the fraudulent deals that he is talking about. We are talking about legacies of protecting and stealing the government lands that NDC have over the years protected, like the lands in airports, several strategic places, the lands in cantonments that have been illegally and ridiculously sold off cheap to individuals who are selfish and motivated by greed. That is the legacy Akufo-Addo is scared that Mahama won't protect. That government bungalows in northern region and several parts are being sold off as cheap as 5,000 Ghana cedis per bungalow. Ridiculously auctioned. This is the legacy that Akufo-Addo is scared that my flag bearer won't protect when he comes to power. That criminals like Cecilia Dapa are being protected openly and defended by the government. Criminals like Cecilia Dapa. Well, let me, for the safety of Pan-African TV, that people who are assumed alleged criminals like Cecilia Dapa, I think that is accepted by law. But we all know what is the truth. And I'm glad to say that some of the things that I utter here, even if I not say it, or should I say I sugarcoat it, or should I say suppress the tone, people know in their heart that this is what's going on. This is the legacy that Akufo-Addo is scared that my president is not going to protect. It's unfortunate that you look at several of these deals and then you wonder, what is the country going into? Because the mere presence of Baumia on the ballot sheet on December 2024 and his interest in contesting is because there's a cabal in NPP who want to protect the criminal activities that are laid down, that they know that once JM comes to power, is going to uproot all these people, investigate and prosecute them. Baumia's presence as flag bearer of the NPP today is to protect thievery, is to protect theft, is to protect criminal activities that would have been or will be prosecuted when NDC comes to power. It is not going to be possible. Senna, it is unfortunate and it's never going to be possible that we go into the next government thinking that anybody whatsoever is going to protect Akufo-Addo. We are looking at legacies of lies when you come out and tell us that Dumso has been solved. There is no problem again. Any problem that comes up is a local problem. A whole president comes out to make such a statement. When my brother here couldn't sleep this night because apparently he was in Dumso throughout. Still Dumso. Looking at the fact that this Dumso crisis that we are experiencing is as a result of negligence towards the power sector. Because it has been established that every government that comes into power has to make a very significant contribution into the power sector so that it doesn't accumulate and then falls down on us. This is the kind of legacy he's talking about. Legacy of uncontrollable borrowing. Legacy of taxing and taxing and taxing everything. Legacy of basically squeezing Ghanaians dry. Because when you listen to how there was e-levy, there is e-levy, you listen to how we have borrowed and we have nothing else to borrow, and people even attempt deals like a Japa just to drain us and milk us of everything, to the extent that the little royalties that we have, everything that we look around and we can touch, we are either selling or putting down as mortgage to get money. And looting and sharing. Legacy of stealing and opening huge companies and suppressing people. Legacy of suppressing media agents or the media, where we've had journalists that have died. Nothing has been done about it. We have people that have died wrongfully in elections. Nothing has even been said about it. Legacy of insensitivity. Sana, it is terrible. It is really pathetic. And then I can say that as an NDC, and as somebody from this party, I can't be any less proud of what my flag bearer has said or how he has replied to Akufo-Addo. That it is so pathetic that he will stand there, and as blunt as he always is, he is never going to tell anyone that, oh, I will manage or I'll see to as to what I can do. No, this is a legacy of lies through and through, a legacy of suffering. And I won't protect it. I have said it. And the true man or the sincere man will know that we need such a leader. A leader who will say it right into your face and won't sugarcoat issues. A leader who will tell you, be prepared for hard times are coming for you. For all the suffering that you have caused Ghanaians, you will face and be accountable to everything. That is when our running mates during her outdooring, our running mates to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, during her outdooring, said that everyone will be held accountable. And it is not a threat, it is a promise. A threat can always be changed. A threat can be something you are saying just to, push or pull a certain action from somebody. A promise is something that is intended to happen, and it will happen. And we have people who have said, maybe out of pain, but have seriously said, like Kennedy Japan of the MPP, that on the day that NDC comes to power and John Dramani Mahama is sworn as president of the Republic of Ghana, when we are ready to prosecute and go after all those that have looted government money, he will point fingers. Because he can see, and he sees all the things that he never imagined his party would do. He will gladly point fingers to those who have stolen precious government lands, those who have dealt in illegal dealings, those who have dealt in unreasonable, fraudulent deals in this government. He will point hands. And I know that he is not the only one. He is one of the bold ones that will say it now. There are a lot of other people who will do it. But I must say that if Akufo-Addo is looking at who will cover his back is bare. His back is bare. And he should only get prepared. There are a lot of things that we've heard. Then you will tell me that I do not have evidence right here in my hands. So for the sake and safety of Pan-African TV, I do not allege it or, voice it out. But we talk in private. We know what they are doing. There are some people who were not scared to die in 2016, but are scared to die now because of the amount of monies in their bedrooms and in their bank accounts. There are people who are now looking for ways and means to transfer money from Ghana into their offshore accounts. We know those are the people. We know people who can now, apart from Cecilia Dapa, provide millions of dollars right and ready in their bedrooms. We know people like that. We know people who did not even know, who have not even held a single government job before, not even a government job, have not operated any business before, and are seated on millions because of fraudulent deals. And this is the legacy Akufo-Addo is expecting JM to protect. We are looking, somebody said something, a brother of mine said something, that Akufo-Addo can never compare himself to JM. Yes, because you look everywhere, including Accra, including Northern region, including the middle part of Ghana, and you will see evidence of the work JM has done. You don't need a child to tell you. You do not need a communicator to voice it out. You see it all around. You see it in your marketplaces, in your hospitals. When in Ghana, for the first time, people enjoyed luxury service in hospitals. When we know that hospitals have very deplorable state. But today, University of Ghana, from structure, from architecture, to the facilities inside, is providing world-class facilities. This is a man that has vision. He says, my country is not a rich country or a developed country. However, we deserve some of these things so that we do not keep running outside the country. Today, we have millions of people that have quadrupled, that are finding, they are trying to make way outside of this country to everywhere. To the US, to the UK, to Canada. Recently, there was a Pastor Kofi Odru, who mentioned that one of his church members was asking him to thank God and also request God to help him gain papers to stay in the country, the right papers to stay in the country. He asked which country. The person said Gambia. Gambia. Somebody wants to be in any country than Ghana, so he's in Gambia. And he's thanking God and asking God to help him get the right documents to stay legally in that country and also to manage his business in that country. Ghana is at a state where there are people who would prefer to be in Gambia than Ghana. That is the country we are living in. The few people who are here are being tied down by either family or something else, or probably just the mere discomfort of being in another country alone. Sana, it is no joke. So what legacy do we have to protect? The man that I know, John Dramani Mahama, who is as plain and really a visionary man, will not and never, as he has said, protect any fraudulent legacy, a legacy of suffering. No, he's rather come to liberate us, as he has done before. He's rather come to show us the path, as he has done before. And just as he's somebody who is plain and always as brutal and blunt as possible, he has said that I will not be a president of promises and fake promises like Akufo-Addo. I won't be that. Rather, I'll be a president who will tell you and be accountable to you. Ask me, I'll answer. Unlike this government, who will not answer, even in our bare faces. That is what he has done. And he has said that in his first few years, clearly it will not be easy. A president who is in opposition now, a future president who is in opposition now, who has clearly said that his first 100 days or first year won't be easy because of the deplorable state that Ghana is in. Is this person not a truthful person? Is this person not somebody that you can actually depend on? Because he's not going to tell you that in the first 100 days, Ghana will be the cleanest city ever. Like Bawumia and Akufo-Addo said, in the first 100 days, I'm going to transform Ghana into a paperless economy. In the first 100 days, you are going to use your Ghana card to travel outside the country. And your Ghana card is going to provide everything for you. No, he won't sugarcoat words. Neither would he lie. Neither is he going to put together so many things that are going to deceive Ghanaians. He's going to be blunt, and he will do the job as he has done before. We are not testing this man. We are giving him a second chance. And the second chance is only for him to continue, not for him to start afresh. Because he has done it before, and he will do it again. And before I end, Senna, I have to emphasize on the fact that there is a strong cabal in MPP that has made sure that Bawumia is the flag bearer of NPP. And it is only to protect the horrible and deplorable legacy of Akufo-Addo and to cover up all their schemes, because they are shivering in fear at the possibilities of what can happen when JM, not if, when JM becomes the president of Ghana come 2025, 2024 December. And so it's something that I want Ghanaians to envision, to understand, that this mate has nothing to offer. As when all blame came, he pushed it on his driver and now says that Monfa steer ne mame. I saw on the last note, I saw that he went to the Techiban or something and they gave him a plastic steer. And then I told my driver, this is the only steer he deserves in his life, and this is the only steer he will get. That plastic wretched steer or whatever significance it meant, that is the only steering wheel that Baumia deserves in life. And that is the only steering wheel that he will get from Ghanaians. And so he should hold on to it well, probably put it by his bed when he's sleeping, because that is the only thing he will get. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. But there was someone who was even asking that he was just going to ask me, where is Jifa? Then he heard me introduce you. But when we do attention to something you've said, it's not only to protect us, but to protect you too. Because they have to attack you first before they attack us. So it's important that we draw your attention to it. Well, if you just join us, the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. This is from Professor Yanka in Cape Coast, who says, Akpafuado, you suffer before you eat. The ever rendition of Akufo-Addo is getting jittery by the day with every passing revelation of the ills of his misrule. This is what is making him to reveal his real preoccupations in his recent reckless pronouncement. I'm not really sure that senility is the reason, as some seek to portray. This pronouncement projects the evil machinations that have been hatched in his brain over time. And then let me read Dr. Akofa Segbefia, who also says, I believe that the parties demanding serial numbers of EC's BVDs have a case. If I post anything on the internet, the origin can be traced to me through the serial number of my phone or my computer. Now, in the case of our Electoral Commission, if strange data is transmitted, which raises doubt, the serial number of the originating machine will show if it's from EC or rogue BVD. We'll come to that discussion. Comrade Pratt.
Well, I'd like to note that public commentators over the last week have sanitized the statement made by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Because they've reduced it to whether or not he has a legacy and whether or not that legacy should be protected. If you focus on attention on his legacy and whether or not his legacy should be protected, you actually sanitize what he said. Because what he said clearly is that I'm not going to hand over if the people of Ghana do not elect the person I want. And that's very clear. Now, what are the implications of that? He is actually looking us in the face and saying that to hell with the 1992 Constitution. That the Constitution means absolutely nothing. That I am not a Democrat and I do not believe in the democratic process. To the extent that the democratic process does not deliver what I want, let the democratic process go to hell. You understand? So even though he talks about his legacy and the need to protect his legacy and so on, the most essential part of his statement is that he will violate the Constitution, he will abuse the electoral process, he will do whatever it takes to ensure that he retains power. Now, I don't think also that we need to take this statement in isolation. We need to couple this statement with other things that have happened, other statements, other practices, you know, and so on, and other actions which have been taken. So here's the president who says, I'm not going to hand over to somebody that I believe would not protect my legacy, okay? Then there's Lord Comey, who has also come to tell us in plain language that they will not hand over, that they will do whatever it takes to retain power, okay? And it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there at all, okay? We are seeing, in real practical terms, measures being taken to ensure that no matter what happens, the government stays in power. One, the MPP parliamentary primaries in Yendi. We all saw an EC official declare publicly his allegiance to the New Patriotic Party. Is that not worrying? Add that to the statements, and it gives you a very worrying picture. It does not end there. A commissioner of the EC publicly declares that the National Democratic Congress is subversive of democracy. What does that tell you? If a commissioner actually believes that the National Democratic Congress is subversive of democracy, why would that commissioner not act in ways to prevent the National Democratic Congress from coming to power? I think it's important that we take note of these things. Then we have the case of a card-bearing propagandist of the New Patriotic Party who has publicly declared that he will do everything and anything possible to prevent the National Democratic Congress from coming to power, being appointed a commissioner. Are we not worried? We should be worried, okay? I know we're going to discuss the ongoing voter registration exercise. But what does that tell you? You go to Norton, check. Most of the machines which are deployed there are defective. Why Norton? Why Norton? Why not Bantama? Did you hear of defective machines in Bantama and so on? So we should be really worried, okay? And there's a lot more that is exceedingly worrying. I mean, you look at the voter registration exercise, and I saw a horrifying video, absolutely horrifying video. Voter machines are not working, and a commissioner stands over the voter machines and prays to God for the machines to work. What? We will come to discuss that. But you see, this is the only place where people lobby for positions, they are given the positions, and then they call on God to come and do their work for them. If God was going to repair machines and make the machines work and so on, why did she go for the appointment? I mean, clear case of irresponsibility. And our part of the world, when we display this gross irresponsibility under the cloak of Christianity, we ignore it. You have been appointed to do a job. If God is a mechanic and can repair machines and so on, well, why were you given the job? Why do you take salary at the end of the month? So we have built a country in which when we have insufficient power supply, all kinds of characters in Kasok move to Akosogbo and pray over the dam. When election machines are not working, they pray for the machines to resurrect and work. And so, that's the country we have built. I feel very sad. You see, take all election results from 1992, and you do that exercise yourself. You will find that in every election in this country, every election since 1992, there have been cases of overvoting. Every election, cases of overvoting. You would at least find 1, 2, 3 polling stations where those who actually cast their ballots exceed the number of registered voters. And this is rigging, isn't it? Rigging, there's no other way of calling it, it's rigging. The courts have determined that what has been found in the past is not sufficient evidence which should lead to the annulment of election results. That's what the courts have determined. Maybe they're right, I don't know. But the point is that rigging in any election is a serious matter that we need to look at seriously. Yes, you may not have too many cases of actual voters exceeding registered voters. But that may just be because in other places, the rigging was more carefully done, more sensibly done. So the rigging may not have occurred in only those polling stations where there's this excess and so on. So here is the signals we are getting, and the president is confirming that. I think it's important to draw the president's attention to the fact that he has no locus whatsoever when it comes to determining who should govern this country. That power is reserved for the electorate, not him. This country does not belong to him. He cannot make those decisions. He has no power to make those decisions. So at best, he's engaged in grape talking. Just grape talking. He has no such authority. He cannot. Now, the 1992 Constitution is an interesting document. And it provides a remedy for those who subvert the will of the people. The remedy is there. I don't want to repeat it. That remedy is so huge, so ghastly, that I don't even want to repeat it. So those who want to subvert election results, those who are claiming that they will not hand over power and so on, they should go and read the 1992 Constitution again. Because it tells us what we should do to them if they subvert the Constitution. The language is clear. If you subvert the Constitution, it becomes lawful to do some things to you. So they should not joke. This is not me talking, it's the Constitution which is talking. The Constitution says clearly that anybody who subverts the will of the people, we have to do the do. You understand what I mean? So they should be extremely careful. In fact, you don't even have to subvert the will of the people before what the Constitution prescribes is done to you. Look, only recently, there was the coup d'etat which was described as the Cutlass coup and so on, involving Mark Palm. You remember? And the courts decided what punishment to give to them, even though they did not attempt the coup. They only dreamt and talked about it. You saw what the courts decided should be done to them. Indeed, 3 days ago, Second Lieutenant Osepoku died. I hope you remember Second Lieutenant Osepoku, who together with Lieutenant S.B. Atta and others tried to overthrow a military government. Not a government elected by the people, but a military government. And you know what happened to them? Okay? So, those who pray for long life should do things which allow them to have long life. If you pray for long life, you don't tamper with the Constitution. If you pray for long life, you don't subvert the will of the people, because the consequences are dire. As for the legacy argument, my brother, legacy I've been listening to Professor White, and he's spoken eloquently about the legacy of the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I mean, there's nobody who has ever ruled this country before who has left such a legacy. Towering legacy. When I talk to my friends who say they are Nkrumahs and CPPs and so on, they're always mentioning Akosombo Dam, Job 600, factories and so on. The legacy, the true legacy of Nkrumah is not the Akosombo Dam. The true legacy of Nkrumah is not the Accra motorway. It is that vision, that idea and organizational capability which enabled him to do those things. They are enduring. Accra motorway has developed potholes. Very soon it may not exist. Okay? The Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America, as part of its plans to cause chaos in this country, to create conditions for the overthrow of the Nkrumah government, actually played with the idea of bombing the Akosombo Dam. It is possible that one day the Akosombo Dam may not be there, and so on. But the idea of collective self-reliance for African states, the idea of stopping dependence on imports from the colonial metropolis and so on, is an enduring legacy, lives forever. The idea of building boarding schools with bunk beds, the person who slept on top of you had no chance of determining who slept on top of you, so you could be there sleeping on the lower bed, and on the upper bed there could be a dagati. The next bed could have a frafra and an eve and so on. And all of this led to a certain bonding, the building of a spirit of nationhood, which is today being destroyed by foolish politicians. And there are so many of them. And they are everywhere. They are in all the political parties. The NDC primaries. Did you hear the garbage which was spilled? Oh, MPP stronghold is Ashanti region, so you need a candidate from Ashanti, in order to neutralize the NPP. Rubbish. And then it came to the selection of running mate. Same rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Non-entities. People who cannot be elected, assistant school prefects, were vying for the position of running mate to John Mahama with stupid reasons. Sometimes it's reduced to age. Sometimes it's reduced to the region they come from. Sometimes it's reduced to their looks. And some of the people who are making arguments about looks, I look at their faces and look at their body and look at their legs. I said, what is going wrong? Does such people have the effrontery to be talking about looks? Look at them. They themselves, look at them. Unbelievable. But then that's the level we have come to. The level we have come to. I was going to say something, but, I'm a little careful sometimes, That's one of the people who said those things. They are my very, very close friends. Not that I'm afraid to criticize my friends and so on. But sometimes when you're saying things, you don't want fingers to be pointed directly to some people. Some people who are assumed to be gurus in politics and so on, they talk a lot of trash. I mean, to the extent that I heard somebody actually saying that, you see, the National Democratic Congress, if you go to the Ashanti region, its leaders in the Ashanti region, like constituency executives, polling station executives, and so on, most of them are not Ashantis. And that is why it is not winning in Ashanti. So they should be replaced with indigenous Ashantis related to the chiefs. Bah! I want to kill the party in the region. brother, I've lived a little long. And I saw Lieutenant Colonel Dawuni as the Central Regional Minister. And to this day, the people of the Central Region talk about Lieutenant Colonel Dawuni in glorious terms because of what he did in the region. Today, you go to the Eastern Region. The name of Colonel Menyila would ever remain in the annals of the Eastern Region because of the work he did. It doesn't come from there. Akwe Norte, you remember Akwe Norte? Was it Northern Region, commissioner and so on? And there are many others. In fact, during the so-called First Republic, and I don't accept that there's a First Republic and a Second Republic and a Third Republic, Ghana gained its republican status only once, on 1st July 1960. It is the same republican status that we maintain after today. So there's nothing like Fourth Republic and there's nothing like Second Republic. It's all just foolish imaginations of politicians who are engaged in a foolish act of arbitrating the legacy of Nkrumah. That's only one republic. There's always been one republic. Okay? But for the purposes of this discussion and so that people would understand, I like to refer to the First Republic. That condition, that you must hail from a place to be able to contest elections there, didn't exist. That is why Nkrumah could move from Nkrofu, small village in the Western Region, come to Odododio and beat Obechebilamte to Ras. You understand? And I think that condition should be removed as quickly as possible if you are to build a united Ghana where nobody is a stranger anywhere. There's this practice again. Hey, Asamoah. Senna, you've heard, once in a while, some chiefs, they meet. So we have banned this person from coming to our region. Who the hell are you to ban any Ghanaian from coming to your region? No chief has that authority. No chief has that authority. No chief to ban anybody from going anywhere in Ghana. It's an aberration. It's an affront to the 1992 Constitution. And we should be telling those chiefs who have all of a sudden started calling themselves kings and so on. There's no king in Ghana. My friend, take it from me, there's no king in Ghana. Ghana is a unitary democratic republic. You cannot have a king in a unitary democratic republic. There's no king in Ghana. Stop that nonsense. Put it aside. Okay? So I'm saying that if you're talking about legacies, this is the legacy we must uphold. Okay? Now, if you're talking about legacy and you want to reduce it to the level that Akufo-Addo and his friends have reduced it to, free SHS, is it a new thing? Master, free SHS, is it a new thing? 1D, 1F, what is it? Yeah? Is that the first time in our history that we are beginning to talk about factories? Yeah? And in fact, under 1D, 1F, you'll be surprised. Again, I saw a video of a vulcanizing shop being labeled as part of the 1D, 1F achievement. Vulcanizing shop. Those who are listening to us in Tamale know that Moto King had been in Tamale for many years. Many years. Yet today is part of the 1D, 1F and so on. These jokes. Jokes. What under 1D, 1F comes anywhere near the jute factory which was built under Nkrumah? So if you're talking about legacies, if you want to reduce legacies to that level of counting houses, counting streets and so on, and counting gutters, let's do it properly. You understand? Legacy. Legacy. What legacy? Cathedral. That part of the legacy. The most expensive hole ever dug in the name of God. And you see, some of these politicians, they do more damage to the reputation of God than even Satan does. Why? You claim, I'm not saying it, that God created heaven and earth. He created the entire universe, the whole solar system and so on. Saturn, uranium, and all of that. God has the capacity to do all of that. And you want to please him, and then you take a small place somewhere in range and build a structure there. You think you are doing something for God. God who builds the universe.
It's homeless.
Yes, and then they say that God is homeless, you know. He doesn't fit into Archbishop Duncan Williams Cathedral. He doesn't fit into all the cathedrals which exist. You must create something new for God. He built the universe, my friend. You said that he built the universe. And you see, these people, they worry God a lot. I don't know. If I were God, I don't know what I'm going to do. They worry him a lot. People who are going to build a resting place for God, God does not give them the wisdom to find ways of building it and completing it on schedule. God takes away their wisdom to the extent that they only end up digging a hole. What kind of God is that? Master, is that kind of God worth worshipping? What kind of God be that? But, hey, this is where we are. I want to end by sounding a warning. Anybody, any group of people who are intent on rigging this election must take note that we have rights and powers that we have given ourselves in the 1992 Constitution. And those rights and powers include the right to resist them, even at the peril of our lives. And they must not begin to think that they are the only Jack Torontos in Ghana. They are not the only Jack Torontos in Ghana. There are so many Jack Torontos. You understand? They must be careful. I think that every Ghanaian who loves his country would not want to add mayhem to the terrible economic conditions that people are facing and so on. But if we are left with no choice, we will rise up to the occasion and face all those who think that they have a divine right to rule over us, even as they mess our lives. Something small, and if I just relax. We cannot, under any circumstance, describe Cecilia Dapa as a criminal. She's under suspicion of committing a crime, but she has not been convicted by any appropriate institution. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll discuss the limited voter registration exercise. So we'll be right back.
Freedom, he's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
Well, thank you very much for staying tuned to the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are live on Pan-African Television, we are live on Radio Gold, and don't forget we are live on the social media platforms of Pan-African Television. On Facebook, look for Pan-African Television. On YouTube, look for Pan-African Television. I realize that a lot of you are gravitating more towards the YouTube broadcast than the Facebook broadcast nowadays. Fantastic. And you're watching us live. I am Sana Nombo in the studio this morning. In case you're just joining us, Kwame Kwesi Pratt Jr. is General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Jifa Tega is Deputy National Women Organizer of the National Democratic Congress. And of course, lawyer Andrew Apia Dankwa is a member of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change and also Movement for Change. Any which way, yes, he is cool. And then Professor Michael Kpazawa is Senior Research Fellow, University of Ghana, and a former presidential staffer. And that's our panel today to discuss the issues we've tabled so far. We're just discussing the president's comment about his legacy and how he wants his legacy protected and how he's insisting on Dr. Baumia to be the one to do that. We're moving on to something connected to that. because we're getting closer to the elections, is a limited voter registration exercise, which started, and I think today will be the 4th day of that exercise. So far, not so good. There are many people who turn up at the registration centers and still complain about not being registered and not having the opportunity to be registered. The political party are saying we are having to encourage a lot more people to go to those centers after they've gone there and are refusing to go back. This time around, I will start the discussion with Jifa Tega on this one. But before I do that, let me acknowledge Shine FM in Akachi on 96.9, Hills FM Adakulu on 91.7, Newasi Radio Katakrachi on 89.7, Sela Radio Dabala 97.1, Diamond FM in Tamale on 93.7, Gbawa Radio in Yendi on 106.5, Radio Kitao in Saboba 95.7, Benya FM Elmina 105.7, Global FM 105.1 in Ho, Zebs FM 95.9 in Zebila, True FM 92.5 in Adeso, Lamaya FM 89.1 in Tripoli. We are also live on Lukusi 96.1 in Vaigo Lokwati. We are live on Tyne FM 90.9, Sekbele FM on 104.3 in Likbeto Dome, Akpini Radio in Pandu. We are live on all those radio stations. And thank you very much for providing us your platform every Saturday morning. Jifa, on the matter of limited voter registration exercise.
Okay, so Senna, thank you once again. And my uncle Kwesi gave a proverb today that I've not heard before, and it's something I'll adopt. That if you intend to live long, do things that will make you live long. And I think it's relatable to everybody in life, not just the people in power today. That you have to be careful and, you know, protect your life if you intend to live long. Or else, if you behave haphazardly, you may end your life easily. So, Senna, going into the voters registration exercise that is going on, and there has been many challenges. I must say that whenever we are having national activities or exercises like this, challenges are to be expected. It's normal. However, there are some challenges that will throw you off and make you realize that we are either ill-prepared or there is some ill intention somewhere. That is it. So, if I am having a wedding ceremony and there isn't any food, something somewhere has gone wrong as to someone's actions, or we are ill prepared, because out of the many issues that are supposed to, you know, occur on your wedding day, like unavailability of food is not supposed to be part of them. You understand? That is why I'm saying that, oh, okay, somebody could be late, somebody could be delayed. Those are the normal mishaps that could happen during events. So this particular exercise is one that I really want all Ghanaians to look closely at. They should study it very closely and see and understand the things that I'm going to say. The very, very major concerns that we have is that innocently because we are so bent on going through these elections right, coming out victorious and preparing, you know, way ahead of time, we have decided that we have agents on the field who would, you know, manage and coordinate everything that is being done, observe and track everything to ensure that on our side there is nothing that is going wayward. And so we want to note down and register all the BVR serial numbers. Every BVR machine has a serial number. And we haven't decided to do this out of the blue. Very recently, we held a press conference about a few weeks ago. And we had mentioned that it has come to our notice that some BVR machines that are under surveillance at the EC office, head office, are missing. Just missing. Let me emphasize the fact that they are under CCTV surveillance, not human being surveillance where somebody will go and pee or leave the room and then it's missing. CCTV, electronic surveillance, they are missing. The EC tried on several occasions to deny it until they couldn't deny it anymore, and they admitted to it. We asked 35 questions. How? Why? When? What have you done about it? How are we solving it? What is the reason behind it? Where were they? What happened to the surveillance? Can we get footage? So many questions amounting to 35. None of them have been answered by the EC. Obviously, it is something that they can confront, because if they boldly had answers and solutions, they would have squashed this issue within a matter of minutes, but they cannot. Many things, including this, has led the NDC as a party to understand that no, unlike the idea that the EC is an independent, institution and is supposed to be fair and does not have any affiliation to any political party, and so every political party is supposed to trust it. We do not trust it. Lots of Ghanaians who don't even know who to vote for yet know that they can't trust the EC. And so because of that, it's simple. Our agents on the ground will record the serial numbers of all these BVR machines, so that when we record it, we know that this one was here at this time, registered this person, this number of people, and we can track it. And it really takes nothing. It is just availability of the serial numbers. Nobody is going to print it out from somewhere. Every BVR machine has serial numbers. So just show it. Let them write it. Few serial numbers, that's it. Your people are not the ones going to write it. Our people will document it. It takes a matter of seconds. Our people will document it. Nothing will be used. No resources by the government. It's not as if you are going to purchase sheets of papers or inks or pens. Nothing. Just show. Allow us to see it and record it all around the country. The EC is resisting this move. The EC is like boldly insistent on resisting this move. We won't show it to you. We won't allow you to record it. Why? What do they have to hide? What do they have to lose? Just show us. In fact, we have even created room that, of course, there are some of the BVR machines that may be spoilt by the day of election, and so there will be replacements or not. Fine. Transparency, we allow that. Just be transparent. This is a body that claims that they are transparent, as the law insists that they should be. They are really pushing away from that, and they won't insist. Senna, without explaining further, I ask a 6-year-old child or somebody in primary 6, why do you think the EC will do that? Then you tell me that this is where I said it is either ill-prepared or ill intention. And this issue we are talking about is not about preparation. The BVR machines are there today. Some are working. So it's ill intention that I'll point to. That the EC may be, this is what I'm suspecting as a suspicion, may be in cohorts with people to plan ill machinery, or should I say ill intentions towards this election. And when an EC works towards, an ill intention, it is definitely stealing. That is the goal. The intention to steal. So now, I am shocked that, if not for anything at all, in your plot to try to do something that is not allowed, it should be reasonable. You should have a reason. Oh, we do not want you to record because of this. It will disturb the process. It will do this. There is no reason at all. This is the suppression that I was telling you that we are going through. The suppression that we have to go through. But I must say that this is not something that we are going to let loose. Sena, one of our major problems with this registration exercise going forward is what is happening now. And then you hear that the Mpoho treasurer, MPP treasurer, has been arrested for registering a minor. And you are wondering what is even going to happen when BVRs that are missing and few others or more others that will be missing in future will land into the hands of criminals, future criminals. What do you think will be used for? In my suspicion, it will be used to register lots of other people illegally. And if it will be used to register people illegally, it will be people who are not eligible to vote. Because if you are eligible to vote and you have your people, let them come and vote over 18 years. Even if you do not have a Ghana card, the guarantor system still works. You can have any other card apart from your passport, like the Ghana card. If you do not have it, the guarantor system still works. So it tells me that if these have been hidden, it is to register people who are not legal voters, who cannot and who are not eligible to vote. Because if you cannot account for BVR machines and tell us how they were missing, and they are missing and no one has answered questions about them, and more will be missing, and you are refusing for us to register the serial numbers so as to track in December or any upcoming voting exercise what is going on or which machine is being used, to know that this is the machine that was used here, these are the number of voters that this machine registered, and these are the number of voters for this particular constituency or district. If you are preventing us from doing that, that means you have ill intention. So now I am seated here saying that today I, together with my party, NDC, is suspecting the EC of ill intention. And I will say, as I have adopted this this proverb or adage, that if you intend to live long, do things that will make you live long. Because there is not going to be, Ghanaians will be ashamed and disappointed in the NDC if we sit down for the EC to push us around. I was telling my brother that everybody, all other political parties apart from MPP, including the mere Ghanaian, is looking up to NDC to stand boot for boot against the MPP. I meet people who tell me that, Charlie, one facing Kofuya will be very disappointed in you. People are really